that said, "Lemonade, 50 cents, please pour yourself." Sprained wrist. Followed by a new addition, "All profits go to charity." But the table was empty, and there was no sign of Bird anywhere. On the subway, somewhere between Carroll and Bergen, I made up my mind to call Misha and pretend nothing had happened. When I got off the train, I found a payphone that worked and dialed his number. My heart sped up when it started to ring. His mother answered. "Hi, Mrs. Schlavsky," I said, trying to sound casual. "Is Misha there?" I heard her call him. After what felt like a long time, he picked up. "Hi," I said. "Hi. How are you?" "Good." "What are you doing?" "Reading." "What?" "Comics." "Ask me where I am." "Where?" "Outside the New York City Department of Health." "Why?" "I'm going to look for Alma Maraminsky's records." "Still searching," said Misha. "Yeah," I said. There was an awkward silence. I said, "Well, I was calling to see if you want to rent Topaz tonight." "Can't." "Why?" "I have plans." "What plans?" "I'm going to see a movie." "With who?" "Girl I know." My stomach turned itself inside out. "What girl?" I thought. "Please don't let it be." "Luba," he said. "Maybe you remember. You met her once." Of course I remembered. How can you forget a girl who is 5'9", blonde, and claims to be a descendant of Catherine the Great? It was turning out to be a bad day. "Meremski," I said to the woman behind the desk in room 133. I thought, how could he like a girl who couldn't do the universal edibility test if her life depended on it? "M-E-R-E, the woman said. So I said, "M-I-N-S, thinking, she probably hasn't ever heard of Rear Window. "M-Y-M-S, the woman said. "No," I said. "M-I-N-S. "M-I-N-S, the woman said. "K-I, I said, and she said, "K-I. An hour passed and we didn't find any death certificate for Alma Maraminsky. Another half hour passed and we still didn't find it. Loneliness turned into depression. After 2 hours, the woman said she was absolutely 100% positive there was no Alma Maraminsky, who died in New York City after 1948. That night I rented North by Northwest again and watched it for the 11th time. Then I went to sleep. Number 19. Lonely people are always up in the middle of the night. When I opened my eyes, Uncle Julian was standing above me. "How old are you?" he asked. 14. I'll be 15 next month. 15 next month, he said, as if we were turning a math problem over in his head. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" He was still wearing his raincoat, which was soaking wet. A drop of water fell in my eye. "I don't know." "Come on, there must be something." I sat up in my sleeping bag, rubbed my eye. I looked at my digital watch. There's a button you can press to make the numbers glow. It also has a built-in compass. "It's 3:24 in the morning," I said. Bird was asleep in my bed. "I know, I was just wondering. Tell me and I promise I'll let you go back to sleep. What do you want to be?" I thought, someone who can survive in sub-zero temperatures and forage for food and build a snow cave and start a fire out of nothing. "I don't know, maybe a painter," I said, to make him happy so he'd let me go back to sleep. "It's funny," he said. "That's what I was hoping you'd say." Number 20. Awake in the dark. I thought about Misha and Luba and my father and mother and why Svi Litvinov had moved to Chile and married Rosa instead of Alma, the one he'd really loved. I heard Uncle Julian cough in his sleep across the hall. Then I thought, wait a minute. Number 21. She must have gotten married. That was it. That's why I hadn't found the death certificate for Alma Maraminsky. Why hadn't I thought of it before? Number 22. Being normal. I reached under my bed and pulled out the flashlight from my survival backpack, along with the 3rd volume of How to Survive in the Wild. When I turned the flashlight on, something caught my eye. It was stuck between the bed frame and the wall, near the floor. I slid under the bed and showed my that told me there was no word in Russian for privacy. I opened it. April 9th. Hebrew letters that I don't know. I have been a normal person for 3 days in a row. What this means is that I have not climbed on top of any buildings or written God's name on anything that doesn't belong to me, or answered a perfectly normal question with a saying from the Torah. It also means I have not done anything where the answer would be no to the question. Would a normal person do this? So far, it hasn't been that hard. April 10th. This is the 4th day in a row that I've acted normal. In gym class, Josh K. pinned me against the wall and asked if I thought I was a big fat genius, so I told him I did not think I was a big fat genius. Because I did not want to ruin a whole normal day, I did not tell him that what I might be is the Messiah. Also, my wrist is getting better. If you want to know how I sprained it by climbing up the roof because I got to Hebrew school early and the door was locked, and there was a ladder attached to the side of the building. The ladder was rusty, but otherwise it was not that hard. There was a big puddle of water in the middle of the roof, so I decided to see what would happen if I bounced my jack ball in it and tried to catch it. It was fun. I did it about 15 more times until I lost it when it went over the edge. Then I lay on my back and looked up at the sky. I counted 3 airplanes. When I got bored, I decided to go down. It was harder than going up because I had to go backwards. Halfway, I passed the windows of one of the classrooms. I could see Mrs. Zucker at the front, so I knew it was the Taleds. If you want to know, this year I'm a hay. I have no idea what these words mean. I couldn't hear what Mrs. Zucker was saying, so I tried to read her lips. I had to lean off of the ladder very far to get a good view. I pressed my face right against the window and suddenly everyone turned to look at me, so I waved and that's when I lost my balance. I fell and Rabbi Weisner said it was a miracle that I didn't break anything, but deep inside I knew I was safe the whole time and that God wouldn't let anything happen to me because I am almost definitely a lame Dvovnik. April 11th. Today was my 5th day of being normal. Alma says that if I were normal, it would make my life easier, not to mention everyone else's life. I got to take the ace bandage off my wrist, and now it only hurts a little. It probably hurt a lot more when I broke my wrist when I was 6, but I don't remember. I skipped ahead until I came to June 27th. So far I've made $295.50 from selling lemonade. That's 591 cups. My best customer is Mr. Goldstein, who buys 10 cups at one time because he's extremely thirsty. Also, Uncle Julian, who tipped me $20 once. Only $384.50 to go. June 28th. Today I almost did something not normal. I was passing a building on 4th Street and there was a plank of wood leaning against the scaffolding and no one was around and I really wanted to take it. It wouldn't have been like regular stealing since the special thing I am building will help people and God wants me to build it. But I also know that if I stole it and someone found out, I would get in trouble and then Alma would have to come get me and she would be angry. But I bet she won't be angry anymore when it starts to rain and I finally tell her what the special thing is I've started to build. I've already collected a lot of stuff for it, mostly things that people have thrown away with the garbage. One thing I need a lot of that's hard to find is styrofoam because it floats. Right now I don't have that much. Sometimes I worry that it will start raining before I am finished building. If Alma knew about what is going to happen, I also don't think she'd be so upset that I his fingers across the wall, pitted with tack marks where the pictures and articles he'd cut out of the newspaper used to hang. He paused to examine himself in the mirror so that later he would be able to recall exactly how he'd looked on that day. He felt a lump in his throat. For the umpteenth time, he checked his pocket for his passport and tickets. Then he glanced at his watch, sighed, lifted his suitcases, and walked out the door. If Litvinov didn't think much about his friend at first, it was because too many other things were on his mind. Through the machinations of his father, who was owed a favor by someone who knew someone, he had been granted a visa to Spain. From Spain he would travel to Lisbon, and from Lisbon he intended to take a boat to Chile, where his father's cousin lived. Once he got on the boat, other things jostled for his attention. Bouts of seasickness, his fear of dark water, meditations on the horizon, speculations about life on the ocean floor, attacks of nostalgia, the sighting of a whale, the sighting of a pretty French brunette. When the ship finally arrived in the port of Valparaiso and Litvinov shakily disembarked. Sea legs, he told himself, even years later, when the shakiness sometimes returned without explanation. There were other things to occupy him. His first months in Chile were spent working whatever jobs he could get, first in a sausage factory, from which he was fired on his third day when he took the wrong streetcar and arrived 15 minutes late, and after that, in a grocery shop. Once, on his way to speak to a foreman he'd been told he was hiring, Litvinov got lost and found himself standing outside the offices of the city newspaper. The windows were open, and he could hear the clatter of typewriters inside. He felt a pang of longing. He thought of his colleagues at the Daily, which reminded him of his desk with the divots in the wood he used to finger to help him think, which reminded him of his typewriter with the sticky S, so that his copy always had sentences like, "Hiss, death leaves a hole in the lives of those he helped," which reminded him of the smell of his boss's cheap cigars, which reminded him of his promotion from stringer to obituary writer, which reminded him of Isaac Babel, which was as far as he allowed himself to get before he stopped his longing in its tracks and hurried away down the street. In the end, he found work in a pharmacy. His father had been a pharmacist, and Litvinov had picked up enough along the way to assist the old German Jew who ran a tidy shop in a quiet part of town. Only then, when he could afford to rent a room of his own, was Litvinov finally able to unpack his suitcases. In the pocket of one he found the brown paper package with his friend's handwriting on the front. A wave of sadness broke over his head. For no reason, he suddenly remembered a white shirt he had left drying on the clothesline in the courtyard in Minsk. He tried to remember how his face had looked in the mirror that day, but he couldn't. Closing his eyes, he willed the memory back. But all that came to mind was the expression on his friend's face as he stood on the street corner. Sighing, Litvinov put the envelope back in the empty suitcase, zipped it up, and put it away on the closet shelf. Whatever money was left after his room and board, Litvinov saved to bring over his younger sister, Miriam. As the closest siblings in age and appearance, they often had been mistaken for twins when they were little, even though Miriam was fairer and wore tortoiseshell glasses. She'd been in law school in Warsaw until she'd been forbidden to attend classes. The only expense Litvinov allowed himself was a shortwave radio. Every night he spun the dial between his fingers, roaming the continent of South America until he found the news station, the Voice of America. He only spoke a little English, but it was enough. He listened with horror to the progress of the Nazis. Hitler broke his pact with Russia and invaded Poland. Things went from bad to terrifying. The few letters from friends and relatives came less and less often, and it was difficult to know what was really happening. Folded inside the second-to-last letter he received from his sister, in which she told him she'd fallen in love with another law student and gotten married, was a photograph taken when she and Zvi were children. On the back she'd written, "Here we are, together." I'm gonna stop there for today. I'm gonna try to make these a little shorter. I don't really know what YouTube likes these videos lengths to be, but I can't figure it out. YouTube will show some of my ASMR videos to a lot of people, and then the others they won't. That's probably the thumbnails. I got a pretty hateful comment the other day about my thumbnails, so that's probably what it is. There are no excuses, but my mental health hasn't been great, so I'm gonna say why my thumbnails haven't been great, but I've been trying my hardest, okay? Things are looking up, things are changing in my life. I'm gonna be moving soon. I wanted to focus on YouTube for a while, but turns out I should have just been focusing on myself and getting my life together before that. When you know that you should focus on being comfortable, but yet you just can't feel comfortable, maybe there's a problem with your surroundings. That's what I realized recently. I kind of knew that too, and it's like, it's a lesson I've learned, and I don't listen to my gut a lot of the time. I just want to trust people and like give them the benefit of the doubt, especially in friendships. Like when it comes to relationships, I will not deal with somebody's bullshit for too long. Like that's definitely why I've been single for so long. But I've always like really wanted to have good friends, so I end up trusting that people are good people when they say that they're my friend and they want to help me, blah blah blah. But you gotta listen to your instincts. You have to listen to your gut, especially me. I think I might actually be psychic in ways, so the fact that I don't listen to my gut at times is so ironic. This has really taught me that my gut is always right. So yeah, just a message. Whatever. Give this video a like if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more from me. And if you are trying to keep up with these, make sure to hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, have a good day, good night, good evening. Bye guys. You know what's interesting? I just realized they must have been going through one of the El Niños. That rarely happens, but is happening this year, 2023. So ironic that it's in this book I'm reading, and it's happening to us this year. We have a super El Niño this year. That's why it's been so much more rainy, at least in the US. Anyway, okay. Super El Nino means much more water. I don't know how else to explain that. Do some research on weather, because I'm not good at explaining it. I just know about it in my head. Okay, would a normal person do this? So far, it hasn't been that hard. I should try that. But what is a normal person anyway? I feel like I'm just like way more in touch with my feelings than most people, and that makes me feel very abnormal. But truly, I don't think it's normal to not be in touch with your feelings. I couldn't live without being in touch with my feelings. I don't know. Okay, so I think this might be helping us understand that this is the famous writer's son, who is the locksmith, who is Leo Gargsky, who may or may not be Litvinov. Are you following me? Okay. So this brings me to a point. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. I watched a couple of YouTubers, specifically, I can't remember. Okay, actually, Nick. Nick is not green, I remember. He made a whole video about how when he was a child, his parents were very religious, and it gave him this huge fear of death. Maybe actually it wasn't from religion, but either way, I watched a few different YouTubers, including Nick, talk about having a major fear of death and like things like that because of religion as a child, scaring the crap out of them. And I wasn't exposed to a lot of religion super young. I was to a little bit, but it's almost like I was too mature already to let anything really get into my mind, and like, I don't know, I didn't really believe much because of what I'd already gone through at such a young age, so I was just kind of not fazed by anything. But still like went to church with some of my friends sometimes and like enjoyed it because it was a nice change of pace to the life that I had. But I can't imagine the fear that it instills in children being like so exposed to religious stuff, especially like this poor kid thinks there's gonna be a flood. Okay. My dog is snoring.